Hello everyone, I'm currently suffering from the second COVID shot. I have some flu-like symptoms, so I can't really sleep, and it's just a bit of a pain. But I'm gonna do some chill painting, so I'm gonna use these following colors to paint up Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. I'm gonna use Vallejo Flat Red, I'm gonna use Citadel Retributor Armor, which is like a nice gold. I'm gonna use Vallejo Gunmetal and Vallejo Silver. And I'm just gonna try to make this rather drab, plasticky Grimlock pop a little bit more. I also bought this fig from eBay, so he's got this add-on here, so it fills out his T-Rex mode a little bit. I'm not really gonna use the T-Rex mode all that much because I love his robot design, but a thing I like about this is that it covers up how empty he is back here, so you can just position these here and he's like it's filled up a bit. But yeah, let's start with so all of these regular grey bits, I'm gonna paint them into the gunmetal, and then I think I'm gonna do a dry brush of silver on top of certain areas, or maybe just like do some edge highlighting. But anyway, here we go with the silver. You can already see that this has a really nice metallic tint to it. You can just compare it here. You see this side here looks more like brushed metal. This is just sort of flat plastic. It's not an awful like default metal plastic, but you know, it could be so much better. There's quite a lot of panel lining here. I think a black wash is gonna look excellent. Compare it. Like, this is the flat sort of silver plastic, and here's the metal paint. However, this is just me being impatient, but I sort of want to hop on straight to the gold bits, because I know that's the parts that are going to pop the most. So, just going to take this Retributor armor here, give it a good shake off screen, just apply it all over these parts here. Oh, that's beautiful. We're gonna do 2 coats at least here. Okay, so now I have all the gold parts finished, as you can see here, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, but it's not quite gonna look like this because I'm gonna apply a black wash here, and I don't really know about the torso. Maybe we'll see how much more I need the details to pop up here. I kept the insignia here, the original color, because I think it would just be too hard to hit all these tiny little lines here with the gold paint. So I'm keeping this here as like, this kind of stick out, I don't really mind it. Now let's get back to the gunmetal. So I already finished this arm here, as you can see, but then I gave up and wanted to do the gold because I was really looking forward to that nice contrast, and there we are. So one thing the Hasbro release of Grimlock here is missing is some color, and that's mainly because this entire bit here is supposed to be red in the game, but Hasbro did their own thing. I don't really know why. Maybe it's based on concept art. I don't really know, but we're gonna base it in the Vallejo flat red I showed earlier, and I don't really like this flat red because it doesn't usually go on that smooth. But we'll try to make the best of it. And then after we base it in the red, I want to try to mix some silver with the red to see if I can get a metallic red. I've tried it before and I've sort of had mixed results, so hopefully this will be one of the better attempts. Also, this black here doesn't really seem to take the red all that well. Maybe I have to base it in... Maybe I'll just base it in the silver. Yeah, so I gave up. We're just gonna base everything in silver, so there we go. Nice coverage straight off the bat. This is gonna look pretty rough from the beginning, but I assure you it's gonna look good when I'm finished with it. Well, I don't assure you, because frankly I don't really know if it's gonna look decent at all, but I'm hoping it will. And I don't really need to be too careful when applying this. I'm just like spreading out the paint so it's sort of even, and I'm trying to avoid hitting these translucent red bits there because I quite like them. Part of me wants to just paint them red, but I think it will give some nice contrast. Also, it's not really the worst thing if I get some of the silver on the already painted gold bits, because the gold has really, really strong coverage, so I can just easily fix that up. If this ends up looking a bit messy, it's also Grimlock, you know. I don't really think Grimlock would care too much about looking pristine. If anything, I would probably think he would dislike it. There we go, mostly everything covered. So let's go back and check out what the coverage is with this red now. Okay, so I accidentally got some silver into that red. That was my mistake. I didn't think it was going to actually make too much of a difference because I was going to mix it anyway, but there was a little bit too much silver in there. So you can like sort of see where this is going, but I want this red to be really vibrant. Okay, so now I've made sure that all the paint is dry, so we're gonna go over with some of this flat red yet again. And there we go, there's the coverage I want. So 2 layers of this should do it, and then I'm gonna mix some silver with this red and hopefully get some sort of metallic red effect on the whole thing. I think I just got some old silver on the brush. I thought that would be dried by now, but actually I sort of like this this red I'm getting here because it looks a bit worn. Like it looks old and beat up, and I'm sort of loving it. But I will also do a black wash here. And like I said, I got some paint on the leg just now, but I can easily cover that up with some more of that gunmetal. Gonna wait for this to dry, and then we're gonna see what we're gonna do next. I think we might just go ahead and go for the black wash immediately, and then after that wash we're gonna go for some detail work. Okay, so before we do any more red, because I think I want to layer one more layer of red on top, I'm gonna go in with a wash, because the wash is gonna be a bit messy, and I want to make sure I can get rid of all the excess paint. Like, as you can see, I'm putting on the wash quite thick here, and then I'm gonna dry brush on top of like here where all the excess paint is falling down. And you know, it's a wash, so I'm not gonna be too careful. Like I also said, I don't really mind everything being a little bit grimy, because this is just gonna fit in with my collection, plus it's Grimlock, he's gonna be a bit messy. I really want to get these little lines marked. See how nice that looks there? Get all these panels nice and highlighted. Okay, so now with all the wash nice and dry, we're going to clean up the wash itself. So we're gonna dry brush this. I really want to keep the black in these recesses, so we just lightly dust the leg here. I'm sort of using the wrong brush for this, but I have one brush I try to keep like all my metal stuff for, because the metal flakes usually mess up a brush pretty hard, even if you like wash it. So I think it's a good idea to have a designated metal brush. And as you can see, I wipe off most of it on my thumb because I don't know, I've just sort of gotten used to it. I wipe off like a little bit on a paper towel, but it's like my second layer of defense for putting too much paint on the brush when I'm on the actual figure. Especially areas like this, you see how the wash has sort of like run down here, and this just erases it completely. So I don't really want to get rid of like all of the remnants of the wash, I just want to get rid of most of it. I don't want it to look just like a big drop has like slid down here, but I want to keep some of this like worn like grime, if that makes sense. So there we go, and there are a couple of more steps left. First we're going to do the same thing but with the gold paint this time. You see like this line here is a bit unsightly, and then after that I'm gonna do the red here. Gonna see if I can paint some metallic red, and then I'm also gonna dry brush all this mechanical detail here. Or actually maybe we can just go ahead and do that right now, because and also a little bit on the head itself. Just a light dry brush on the edges here. So let's go in with the gold now and try to clean this up. There we go, and now the gold is nice and cleaned up, and you can see like the metallic sheen of the gunmetal dry brush on the metal parts. So now we're gonna go over the red. So this is a mix now of silver and red, but it doesn't really seem to give me the effect I want, so I think for now I'm just gonna go with straight up red. Unlucky. Okay, so now the majority is finished. There's just one tiny little detail left, and that is these little bits here are glowing red in the game, so just want to try to get them red. Once again, like I said, I don't like this fillet of flat red at all. It doesn't cover well at all. Usually when I think of red, I think of a color that covers really well, but something's just off about this. So I got an idea just to create some more of that lovely contrast I keep babbling on about in videos. You see all these little details here? I thought maybe if I just paint them silver, I would get a nice extra level of contrast. Well, technically it's the gunmetal, but it just breaks up the monotony of all this gold. I think that gives us some nice contrast there. Yeah, I like it. Now, what I'm gonna do with this last little bit of silver on my brush is I'm just gonna edge highlight a little bit with the silver. It's not really gonna be too noticeable at all, but I want there to be a little bit of wear on this gold. There we go. Like, you can barely see it, but it's there, and I don't know, it just gives me like some peace of mind knowing that I did actually weather the torso bit. So now let me get some better lighting. So lastly, we're just gonna paint up his sword here. So we're just gonna dry brush it with the same silver we dry brushed, well, the same gunmetal we dry brushed the majority of his torso with. So here he is, fully painted, and like, as per my usual saying, I'm really happy with how it turned out. The gold looks great, I think. The red isn't as vibrant as I originally planned it to be, but I sort of really like this sort of dingy, dirty red. I think it really suits the gritty tone of, you know, everything the look I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm happy with all the little detailing here, just little dry brushing, the arms turn out good. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say. I mean, I painted everything here. I'm not even gonna bother transforming in, like, sorry if you are really into that, but I'm usually just in for the robot modes. Yeah, really happy with how this Grimlock turned out. I might pick up I know Planet X made a Fall of Cybertron Swoop and the Fall of Cybertron Slug, and I really want to pick them up just to complete the gang, because I know that Slug is around the same height as Grimlock. If he was taller than Grimlock, I would be upset, but I think he's like around the same height. And Swoop is like only like a deluxe size figure, so... furthermore, if you want some scaling, since these are technically in the same continuity, here's first edition Optimus, and I think they're about the same. I think it looks like Prime is taller. No, I think Grimlock is ever so slightly taller, which I'm perfectly fine with. And yeah, I just wanted a Grimlock because I love Grimlock. I thought about getting the Studio Series 86 Grimlock, but in the end I decided to go with this one because I love Fall of Cybertron, and I thought Grimlock was absolutely perfect, and the decision to bring back Greg Berger to do the voice again was brilliant. So yeah, Grimlock. Hope you enjoyed the video.
Grimlock smash! No one's tougher than me! Me Grimlock no bozo, me king!